Why predators watch you. Instead of attacking, picture this. You're hiking alone. The trail is quiet, birds are calling somewhere overhead, and the light filtering through the trees has that soft, almost spiritual quality. For the first time in weeks, you actually feel at peace. Then something changes. Off to the side, maybe 30 meters into the trees, you notice it. A shape that doesn't quite fit. A pair of eyes catching the light. Something low and motionless in the brush that you would have walked straight past if it hadn't shifted its weight at exactly the wrong moment. And then it hits you. It's been there a while. It didn't just arrive. It was already watching when you rounded the bend, tracking you with a stillness that doesn't feel casual at all. Your peaceful moment is gone. Here's the part most people don't expect, though. You were almost certainly never in real danger. Whatever that animal was, it saw you long before you saw it. Probably minutes before. It had every chance to act, and the physical means to do so efficiently. Instead, it chose to watch, to track, to assess, with a patience that predators have practiced since long before humans existed. So, what's actually happening in that animal's brain? What is it trying to learn? And why, if this kind of silent surveillance happens constantly, are real attacks on people so rare? What stalking really is. Large predators observe and follow humans far more often than most people realize. Trail cameras in mountain lion country routinely catch the same cat walking the same trail a hiker used minutes earlier, matching the route almost exactly. Wolves have been recorded shadowing solitary hikers through forest for long stretches without ever revealing themselves. Bears assess human presence with a deliberateness that would unsettle most people if they fully understood it. And in the vast majority of cases, the animal decides not to attack. The reason it stalks and the reason it doesn't attack turn out to be the same answer, and it runs through evolutionary biology, predator decision-making, foraging economics, and a discovery that's reshaped how ecologists think about fear itself. The idea that humans have permanently altered the risk landscape for every large predator on the planet. Let's break it down properly. Stalking is data collection, not an attack in progress. An ambush predator, a mountain lion, leopard, tiger, or jaguar, doesn't strike on impulse. It can't afford to. Hunting is expensive. Stalking burns calories. Chasing burns more. Wrestling down a struggling animal burns more still, and none of it is guaranteed to pay off. Even mountain lions hunting deer, their most familiar prey, fail roughly half the time under good conditions. A failed hunt wastes energy the animal needed elsewhere. A failed hunt that ends in injury, a kicking hoof, a goring antler, can push a healthy predator toward a downward spiral where every future hunt gets harder and starvation becomes a real risk. So, before committing, the predator's brain runs a calculation, not consciously, but through neural systems shaped by exactly this kind of cost-benefit problem. What's the likelihood this works? What's the energy gained versus spent? How likely is injury? Does the target look alert, capable of fighting back, or oddly unfamiliar? Is anything nearby that might intervene? Answering those questions takes information. Stalking is how the predator gathers it. A mountain lion trailing a hiker through brush for 200 meters usually isn't escalating toward a strike. It's collecting data on gait, alertness, physical condition, and how the target reacts to sound or movement. Wildlife biologists generally believe mountain lions don't instinctively register a standing human as prey at all. An upright, two-legged silhouette doesn't match the template's millions of years of evolution built around four-legged animals of a particular size, moving and sounding a particular way. So the cat watches and gathers more information instead. And the calculation it runs almost always lands in the same place. This is unfamiliar, unpredictable, and possibly capable of a dangerous response. Not worth the risk. Keep your distance. The deeper reason, humans are uniquely dangerous. Here's the part that goes beyond simple unfamiliarity. A predator's caution toward humans isn't really about how strange we look. It's about something embedded much further back in the evolutionary relationship between our species and theirs. By the metrics that usually matter to a predator, claws, speed, strength, senses, a single human is unimpressive. We're slow, weak-clawed, dull-nosed, and middling-eared. In a straight physical contest, a mountain lion would win quickly. But that's the wrong question. The real question a predator's evolutionary history answers is, what happens to animals that attack humans? And the answer, repeated across tens of thousands of years, is that they usually die, often quickly, often at the hands of a coordinated group that tracks them down with tools that erase any physical advantage the predator has. Humans are the only prey species that, when one of its own is killed, regularly organizes a deliberate, coordinated effort to hunt down whatever was responsible. We track over distances no pursuit predator could sustain. We remember. We share information. We come back with tools that work at a distance the predator can't close. We simply don't play by the same risk rules that govern conflicts between other large animals. The evidence: humans, not lions, are the scariest sound in the forest. A 2019 study in Ecology Letters, led by ecologist Justin Serrazzi and colleagues at UC Santa Cruz, tested this directly. Researchers set up speakers across mountain lion habitat and played either ordinary human conversation and reading, or frog calls as a control. The effect was immediate. Mountain lions cut their feeding time at kill sites. Bobcats moved less. Even skunks and opossums shifted their activity. Just the sound of relaxed human voices, nothing threatening, no chase, no weapons, was enough to suppress predator behavior across the landscape. As Serratti put it, humans are frightening enough to pumas and smaller carnivores that merely thinking we're nearby changes how they use their own habitat. The ripple effect, smaller prey like mice and wood rats ranging more freely because their predators stayed cautious, was on the same scale as removing the predators from the area entirely. This connects to a concept ecologists call the landscape of fear. Animals don't just react to predators that are physically present, they continuously adjust behavior based on where they believe danger might be. For most of ecological history, the map was shaped by competition among predators themselves. Then humans showed up and rewrote it for every species at once. A study in Current Biology on African savanna wildlife found something striking. Animals at waterholes fled human voice recordings faster and more intensely than they fled lion roars or hunting calls. They abandoned the waterhole in about 14 seconds for human sounds, versus 23 seconds for lion sounds and 32 for a neutral control. By the actual behavior of the animals living there, the most feared sound in that ecosystem isn't a lion. It's a human voice. The same pattern shows up worldwide. Deer and wild boar in Chinese forests reacting more strongly to human audio than to leopard calls. Scandinavian brown bears precisely adjusting behavior around hunting season. American elk shifting to nighttime grazing simply because of increased hiking traffic, with nothing more dangerous involved than people walking trails. The animal watching you from the brush isn't thinking like a hunter sizing up prey. It's thinking like prey sizing up a predator, running a risk calculation refined over thousands of years by selection pressure that punished any animal that underestimated humans, while merely costing a little wasted caution to the ones that overestimated us. Evolution settled on extreme caution and careful information gathering as the safest strategy. When the caution breaks down, none of this means attacks can't happen. The wariness predators show toward humans is learned and maintained. It depends on consequences continuing to reinforce it. When that feedback stops, behavior shifts. Habituation is one path. A predator that repeatedly approaches humans, campsites, or human food sources without anything bad happening starts to lose its fear response. The link between human and danger weakens with each safe encounter. A bear that's raided a campsite 5 times without consequence isn't just a fed bear. Its entire risk model for humans has been rewritten in a way that removes one of the main behavioral barriers against treating people as prey. This pattern shows up repeatedly in investigations of actual predator attacks. Desperation is the other path, and it has a grim irony to it. A predator with enough food and stable habitat has little reason to gamble on attacking a human when a familiar deer is a safer bet. But a predator pushed into degraded habitat, competing for shrinking prey, and physically depleted, is running a different calculation entirely. One study on wolves found that hunger directly changed habitat choices and risk tolerance. Hungry wolves entered high human activity areas that well-fed wolves consistently avoided. When starvation is close enough, risks that normally wouldn't be worth taking start to look acceptable. The infamous historical man-eaters, the Tsavo lions that killed railway workers in 1890s Kenya, or the Champawat tigress blamed for over 400 deaths in early 1900s India, were almost always animals in extreme circumstances. Injuries that ruled out normal prey, collapsed prey populations, or early encounters with humans that failed to produce the expected danger. These were outliers precisely because they sat so far outside normal predator behavior. Normal behavior is the watching, the following, the 30 meters of brush and patience between a predator's eyes and your back, and the conclusion that gap almost always produces, shaped by thousands of years of hard lessons, this creature is too unfamiliar, too unpredictable, too historically lethal to risk. Better to wait until it's gone. Flipping the framing. There's one last twist worth sitting with because it reverses the whole picture. Throughout this, you've been imagining yourself as the one being watched, the potential prey under assessment by something that could, in theory, decide badly. But ecologically, that framing has it backwards. An analysis of kill rates published in Science by researcher Chris Daremont and colleagues found that humans kill wildlife, including apex predators, at rates up to 9 times higher than non-human predators kill each other. We're the only predator that routinely kills other apex predators, that targets the largest and healthiest individuals rather than the weak or old, and that hunts for reasons: sport, precaution, tradition, land management, that they have no real equivalent anywhere else in nature. We've reshaped the predator-prey balance of nearly every ecosystem we've touched, and we've done it long enough and thoroughly enough that the consequences are written into the genetics and learned behavior of large predators everywhere. So the mountain lion watching you from the tree line isn't in the predator's seat. It's in the position of prey, conducting threat assessment on the most dangerous thing it has ever encountered. Is this one armed? Is it alert? Is this an encounter worth aborting? The stalking is threat assessment. The stillness is survival behavior. And across thousands of years of hard-earned evolutionary learning, the conclusion it reaches almost every time is the same one. You're too dangerous. I'll wait until you're gone.